method was to introduce a strategic style of offense and defense, which came to be called smart ball or brain ball. The team won its first championship 4 years later in 1926. The team practiced skill and speed to perfection. They were encouraged to play harmoniously as a team and not pursue individual achievements. There were certainly handicaps to be overcome, such as size of the team players. The opposition team members were often almost a foot taller and physically stronger. Also, the team had to deal with unfair, often racist umpires, which at least on a couple of occasions led them to leave the league to join another. Nevertheless, through Miyazaki's brain ball strategy, the Asahi Baseball team came to be respected and admired by the fans on both sides of the fence. And the newspapers in the 20s and 30s were calling the Asahi the most popular team in the Vancouver Industrial Leagues. They won Terminal League championships in 1930, 1932, and 1933. Then after 2 years of dealing with unfair umpiring, they joined the Commercial Burrard Leagues, winning consecutively from 1936 to 1940. Yes, they were an admirable ball team. But the members of the team, even as they returned home after winning a game or the championship, and reading the newspapers filled with praises about their skillful plays, they found themselves referred to in derogatory terms as Japs and Nips, never acknowledged as Canadians. In their daily lives, they were not allowed access to certain jobs, no matter how well educated. They were socially segregated at public places, such as the movie theaters and indoor swimming pools, and not allowed into some restaurants. Though several legal attempts were made by members of the Japanese Canadian communities from as early as in 1900, they were denied the right to vote, no matter that they were Canadian-born or naturalized Canadians. Without the right to vote, there was no recourse. Only during the game on the ballpark were they able to level the playing field as equals and to bring pride and hope and joy to the members of the Japanese Canadian community, both young and old. As a former Asahi team member, the late Kiyoshi Suga pointed out, they were our team regardless of where you lived on the coast. They were fighting for us. Despite all the hardships imposed on us, they showed us we could fight. They showed us we could overcome anything. When the team members hung up their cleats after the September 18, 1941 game, which they lost, by the way, vowing to do better in the next year, they of course did not know that they had just played their last game. Together with their families and more than 22,000 Japanese Canadians living in the West Coast, they were expelled from their homes, labeled enemy aliens, and sent to the interior of British Columbia to internment camps and to sugar beet farms in the prairies. Resistors were sent to prisoner of war camps in Ontario. With their homes, businesses, and personal properties confiscated by the government and sold without owner's consent, and with the second uprooting at the end of the war, when Japanese Canadians were not allowed to return to the West Coast, but forced to move east of the Rockies or be deported to Japan, the Japanese Canadian community that existed before the war disappeared. Undoubtedly, the internment of Japanese Canadians had nothing to do with security risks, but with legislative racism, acknowledged and redressed by the Government of Canada in Parliament finally in September 1988. The Vancouver Asahi Baseball team members living dispersed across the country were never to meet as a team in this park or in Vancouver again. But wait a minute, I think they are here. I do believe in this field of dreams that some 100 members of the Asahi team are here with their managers and laughing and enjoying this moment. At this event, At this event, we also have with us, as we already acknowledged, former players Jimmy Fukui and Kei Kaminishi, and in Toronto, Miki Maekawa, who will be 100 this year. And in closing, I would like to acknowledge those who have kept the memory of the Asahi alive. In particular, Asahi documenter Ms. Pat Adachi of Toronto, journalist and Asahi fan Frank Moritsugu, sports writer William Humber, filmmaker Jerry Osborne, and sports writer and admirer of the Asahi, Mr. Norio Goto, who recently published a book in Japan that I'm hoping that we will have translated into English. I also thank the Vancouver Sun and the Vancouver Courier for the great articles they published to commemorate this team and this event. And thank you all for making this day possible. I hope you will stay to enjoy the tribute game, and I hope that it will not rain. And of course, there will be hot dogs.